Hello again. Just before the local elections in this country, there was a flurry of suggestions in the comments on this channel that I debate with somebody called Mark Collett, of whom I had not previously heard. I had mentioned the Patriotic Alternative in the video because I had a leaflet through my letterbox about this would-be political party just before the elections. I say would be because the leaflets had originally been printed in expectation that the Patriotic Alternative would be fielding candidates in the local elections, but alas, they screwed up the process of applying to the Electoral Commission for permission to register as a party, and so that came to nothing. All that remained were leaflets delivered before the local elections on behalf of a party which didn't exist. The leaflets themselves were unexceptionable, but they caused a good deal of hysteria in local newspapers, being described as violent racist. I couldn't see anything in them really to which I might object. I waited to see if I would get an email inviting me to communicate with Mark Collett, the man who apparently was in charge of the Patriotic Alternative, but I didn't hear anything, so I assumed that the idea of a debate had been abandoned. I have recently, however, been sent a link to a debate in which he does take part, and I give this link in the description to this video. It does make me think that taking part in a debate with this chap would have been rather a bad idea. In the video, he and a woman called Laura Towler are debating with two young Americans. Now, these Americans are androgynous beings, and both are cursed with strange voices which make them sound like ventriloquist dummies, which I found rather distracting. They seemed amiable enough, but I found their cockiness annoying. This was nothing, though, compared with the impression Mark Collett gave. In the first few minutes of the debate, he suggested that they were Jews, which A, had nothing to do with anything, and B, made me decide on the spot that debating with such a man would not be a good idea. He's one of those unfortunate souls who seems to have Jews on the brain, and there are enough people visiting this channel already who are constantly accusing me of being a Jew. I hardly need to take part in a special debate so that somebody else can level the same accusation at me in that way. The main thing I noticed about Mark Collett was the extraordinary way that he kept waving his hands about, making gestures, grimacing and bouncing his head from side to side and snapping forward like that as though he were a dog in pursuit of a particularly juicy bone. I hope that I'm not being unkind, but he gave me the impression of having practiced such gestures in front of the mirror, after having watched perhaps old films of Hitler addressing a rally at Nuremberg. Perhaps I do him an injustice. He might simply be in the habit of relaxing of an evening by watching Leni Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will, and absorb such mannerisms unconsciously, by osmosis, one might say. Watching Mark Collett, I could easily imagine him up on a podium, declaiming furiously and gesturing wildly, saying, "Eine Volk, eine Reich und eine Führer." As I say, I might be quite wrong about this, but not, I think, about the preoccupation with Jews and blaming them for all the country's misfortunes, which does appear to be something of a leitmotif in his writing and speeches. For this and other reasons, I doubt that I should be taking part in a debate with Mark Collett any time in the immediate future, but I'm sure he'll get along well enough without that. I understand, by the way, that the Patriotic Alternative are still determined to be a regular political party, and that they hope soon to field candidates in elections, pinning their ambitions upon the idea of getting a lot of councillors into local authorities. This didn't work out too well in this district when it was tried, The British National Party once had 4 councillors here in Epping Forest, including, incredibly, a Jewish woman called Feldman, which I found slightly bizarre. They couldn't, however, get the hang of procedures in the council chamber in Epping, and they were all voted out at the next election. This is the problem with independent candidates like that. Without a party machine to advise them, they do tend to flounder a little if they get voted in.